Today we have Moritz here.
Hi guys, my name is Moritz, and for the last years I was building up the sales team of a now 100 million valuated.
Could you briefly describe, how growing up was for you in a couple of sentences and what inspired you to become when you were young compared to your present self?
I grew up in a very teeny tiny village in the southern part of Germany.
So what was the overall thought process of, taking these JavaScript courses?
If you want to found a successful company, you need to know how to code.
What attracted you to green tech and moving forward, what do you think are some underrated niches for those who are looking to explore?
I would always look for certain factors. So what is future proof? Number one. Second is where you're passionate about. And number three is what is fun to do for you every day.
Niche. So you personally have took many different courses, and that's one of the ways which I've met you, which I'm very grateful for, is that we were in Lev Ariola's lead gen course. So what was your overall experience with all the other courses that you have taken, and would you suggest someone buy some of these courses? Because online there's so many controversial opinions on some courses being good, some courses being a complete scam, general knowledge. So what's your take on that?
So in the last 2 years, I've spent over 60,000 USD on several courses, and some of them were more expensive. So when I say more expensive, I would say 15,000, and some were a little bit more cheap. And I really noticed some differences in between those courses. And why I'm creating that course right now is because I don't want that you need to get all that courses. I want that you can have one course which teaches you everything you need to know. And what I didn't like is that most courses, especially the cheaper ones, were very generic. You really felt that, it's just people who want to have fast and quick money. But I don't believe in that concept, because that maybe works for them for 2 or 3 months, and then they get the first reviews and then it's all over. And I don't believe in that kind of doing business. I believe in that long-term value-based relationship where the one customer gives you, in that case, money and trust. And because you get that, they trust you to help them to get from point A to point B. So your point A might be to be at your current situation, having a limited amount of clients, and you really want to hit that 10, 20, 50,000 USD monthly revenue goal, but you don't know how to get there. And I think the job of a course, of a really good course, is to build that bridge with you together. Of course, you need to walk that by yourself, but to help you building that bridge. And I think that's what makes a very good course. And to not just use copy and paste content. There were courses which cost 5, 6K, and it was just copy and paste from other courses or from celebrities like Alex Hormozy and all that things. I think it's always good to get inspiration, but to not just copy, because then they can watch it on YouTube or wherever. So I think it's lots of thoughts inside, and to be honest, it's very hard to build it, because you really need to unwrap your mind and take out a thought which is completely in a mess, and you need to clarify it. You need to make it as easy as possible, that everyone understands what is inside here, what you're thinking, your thought patterns. And I think that's what makes a really good course.
Yeah, I think the points that you brought up is really relatable, especially with the course. I mean, I personally also done several courses, and experience was, I guess, some points were good, some points were not that great as well. So I know before the podcast we talked slightly about the course structure, but if you don't mind giving a little sneak peek of what you can to the audience on what the upcoming course is about, how is it going to be structured, and the overall timelines.
100%. So the start will be more inside the general thought pattern. So the first lecture will be about the misbelief in sales. And I think it's 18 or 20 pages already long, just that alone. And it will be a very long video to explain everything. And I tried to use biology to explain some some ideas, and I try to use, for example, philosophers like Seneca or other philosophers to explain it in a certain way that hopefully that helps everyone who attends the course to get an idea and to can relate with certain things, because some things in sales can be abstract. So I try to look for ways to explain it further. Then the next couple sections are about the right niche, how to choose the right niche, how to find out that's the way you want to go. I think that's also quite long, quite excessive, because I feel that many people struggle in finding a niche, and then they're just choosing one which a guru on the internet told them about. But they forget that 100,000 other people watched that video. Maybe 50,000 of those 100,000s are also going inside that niche. So how can you find a niche which is perfect for you? And when it's perfect for you, it doesn't need to be perfect for me. And my goal is to help you find that perfect niche and also how to try out certain niches. And then it continues with a very long, very intense, excessive offer creation. And with offer creation, I know in the last years it got really hyped and everyone was talking about the perfect offer, but this is really inside. So it takes a lot of work also for the person who attends the course to build it up, because it's a lie that if you just need to watch a video and then you know how to create the perfect offer. You need to really sit down and get inside your head, and I'm going to guide you through every single step you need. And from there, we take it out to the outbound systems. So how to actually use your niche, how to use your offer, how to use everything you want and you're craving. And there will be a big module about cold emails, how to set it up, how to not get in spam, everything around that. Basically, what we always talk about in that free mastermind, which is focused right now mostly on cold emails. Then there will be a section, a module about cold DMs. There will be a proper system, a tracking sheet, everything around that, KPIs, everything you need, scripts for videos and everything around that. So how you can stand out of the crowd, because everyone gets so many LinkedIn messages or Facebook messages, which are full of crap, full of spam. And how can we build a system which is not spam, which really can build trust right away with the prospect? And then there will be a module about cold calling. I don't want to get too deep inside that right now, but like that you have a good tech stack, a good stack of outreach methods, and not just that you're reliable in one method. I want that you learn everything you need to know to get to a better, bigger picture for your company. And then there will be SOPs. So how to hire salespeople, how to hire a team, how to hire the perfect team, while not necessarily needing to spend hundreds of thousands of euros on it. How can you start a team on a budget, basically? And then, of course, because then you book meetings with that outbound system. How do you sell now? How you build a sales script? So there will be another module about how you can build the perfect sales script. Because just hopping on a call and be like, hey, I'm going to show you now what I'm going to do, that is not going to work anymore. That sales script will be based on what I call permission-based sales. So you will ask a lot of questions. You will not pitch so much about your service or your product, but you listen. And that's something many people are lacking, especially people who want to just be very fast in everything they do. So there will be a section where you will learn about how you can ask the right questions, how you can build your own personal sales script.
Yeah, super interesting and very, very excited to have a look at that course later on. So, like talking on the question of, and let's just say, for example, with your course, you make it blow up, right? There's like 100,000 or like, for example, ideally 1 million different people who take your course. How do you ensure that, the things that you say in the course are, it does not become way too saturated to the point where like everyone's doing the exact same thing and like you really can't stand out?
So in such a thing like a course, you have two different kinds of content. The one content is evergreen content, content which is always true. For example, content about crushing your beliefs, about myths in sales, about that misunderstandings many people have. That is evergreen. That always stays the same. And then you have dynamic content, content about cold emailing, cold DMs, about all that different things. Content which is going and which will change. So with dynamic content, there's always work behind to update it, to make it as new as possible. Because, for example, in DM outreach, DM sending limits are constantly changing. Things like stimuli are always changing. Because see it that way. I always say in sales, it's about the stimulus. So I'm introducing you to a new stimulus. So you send out an email with something new inside. Imagine it like that. So you're sitting at home. Then it rings on your door, and there's a monkey juggling balls and selling cookies to you. That's the first time you've ever seen something like that, and you're like, "Whoa, that's crazy! Yeah, I want cookies." And then the other monkeys around him see that it works. So imagine that for the next 100 days, there's always a monkey juggling in front of your window, ringing the door, wanting to sell you cookies. On day one, it works because it's something new. On day 100, it is not going to work anymore because you are saturated with that stimulus. Because then the monkey juggling in front of your door selling you cookies is boring, nothing new. And that is how sales work. A stimulus works until a certain point where too many people use it. And then you need to build up a new stimulus. And that's what we're doing. So we're pushing out a stimulus. And when we push that to the big campaigns, in the meantime, we test new stimuli to try out new things in the background. And whenever then we see a decline of response rate, for example, with a certain stimulus, then we put in the new stimulus which we tested in the background. So that we always stay on top of the game.
Yep. So in terms of, talking about these like new stimulus, like I think many people find it challenging to just come up with like new ideas. Like if you just sit down right now and like, let's just say, for example, like if you have to think about another new
Yeah.
outreach method in like your emails to put like a new feature, like how do you come up with these thought process or at least like spark them in your brain?
Boredom. Simple boredom. Because everyone is yeah, everyone is creative in a different phase. I'm very creative when I'm bored. No phone, no music, no book, no TV, no computer, going out for a walk and just walk or just sit down on a stone outside. And that's how I come up with new ideas. I always have a book with me or like a piece of paper I can write on, and then I'm getting creative. I need to get above that mental state of, oh, now I need to check my phone or now I need to look at my emails. I need to get over that. And then it's in the flow phase. So that's how I get ideas. But that can vary from person to person. Some people are very creative when they play do sports or when they play piano. Some are very creative under the shower. It always varies from person to person, but for me, it's extreme boredom.
Got you. So it's just finding that creative state and having that creative flow, and then things will just come up in your brain.
Yes.
So with the overall course, like obviously there's like many different courses out there, and some of them, like as you said before, they charge like high ticket, and some of them charge lower ticket with different guarantees, different like
Mm.
weekly coaching. So with your own course right now, like what are you thinking of with, in terms of like the pricing and like the weekly masterminds?
So the pricing of the whole course, so the video content and getting a real exchange about everything I know, like asking every question to get all the knowledge I have and all the knowledge my team has. The the main price will be in a region, it will be considered as expensive. I don't want to say a number now because we committed in our team to only say a price when someone is interested and hops on a call with us. And for early adopters, so mastermind members and people who want to start, so who are up to that release, every week there will be a release of a new module, they will have a significant discount of 50 to 65% depending on when they join.
Nice, nice. And like talking more about, the team and, delegation of roles,
Mhm.
like many people talk about how like if you reach 10K a month, it's going to be worth sacrificing time to just invest in a great team and bring on A players. What is your overall strategy with that? Is it like the same advice, or how did you see upon that for the past couple of years?
So I wouldn't nail it down on one number. I wouldn't necessarily say it's 10K, it's 50K, it's 100K. I would say as soon as you reach a bottleneck of your own work, so as soon as you, for example, get more appointments than you can handle, or as soon as you have a good feeling, as soon as you make money with it, and as soon as you see, okay, if I now hire a person which just is mirroring me and is looking, okay, what is Moritz doing, and then replicating it, it's doubling the output. As soon as you think that is the case, then it's time to start hiring. But you need to be aware. Each person you add to your team is adding 10x in complexity of your business, because then they ask questions. Then they need a certain training. They don't know things in the beginning. What are you going to do if they reach a bottleneck and they are not performing? So you're then not just firing them. You need to show and see how to fix their bottleneck. And then that can reduce the time you can spend on doing sales and making your business successful. So you need to be aware of that. So you need to be in such a state where you can actively pull out of the operative part and be there for your employees, be there for your team.
Yeah, and I think many people also talk about how, like, with AI and all of the evolution, it might be even possible to run like a solo, like single company. So in the sales industry and marketing, what do you think would be the greatest change for like the next 5 years, the next 10 years?
Mm, a controversial opinion here. It will be the biggest sales deals will be closed not online but in person. I see a big trend that companies get their employees back in office. Of course, when there's a call, for example, I'm right now in Germany, when I call with someone in the US, I still do the first call in like via Zoom or Google Meets or Teams or which platform you choose. But I think sales will go back to more in person. And that's how you can make a difference, especially in the next, I would say, 2 to 3 years. If you also commit, for example, on one region where you're located and then meet people in person, because that's a huge, unique selling point you have, that they can just call you and you meet for lunch if they have a question. If you're contacting companies all over the country, all over the world, of course you will be there, but online. And I think that will be a big thing, and that will improve the sales process and the trust building tremendously, even though it's not the easiest way for most companies, also for those who switch to full remote.
That's a super interesting point, because I think many people, they talk about how digital world will take over, right? Everything's going to be acting online, and I think the human emotions is something that AI really can't replace, and like the digital world, like it's going to be that very hard to kind of replicate it on like this platform. So like talking about like the content that you're posting on LinkedIn, like you started LinkedIn Reels, so could you slightly touch base on like what's your overall thinking with that, and like do you think it's the way to go?
Yeah, 100%. So when I post content, it's distributed in multiple channels, because if you already have the content, why not using it to your advantage? So I create one long form video a week on YouTube, and then I distribute it in form of YouTube shorts and LinkedIn shorts and TikTok videos in form of a short form content. So what I've seen is I did a challenge 1.5 years ago where I posted on LinkedIn every day for 100 days. No pause.
Mhm.
It didn't have a big impact. The post didn't perform well. Then I posted once a week and it had an amazing effect on everything because then the reach got increased and people didn't get used to the stimulus of Moritz posting. They just saw it in their feed and they liked it because when I posted for 100 days in a row, people were too used to the stimulus that I'm posting every day, that their feed is completely crowded with Moritz with posts. And that's something which I also see with LinkedIn short videos, that now LinkedIn is also pushing shorts. And they even have a feed now. They have a video feed. I didn't know about that a long
Mhm.
time. And people are also getting lost inside the feed. And when you post content on YouTube, for example, enable it, do it, use it for your advantage.
Yeah, got you. Super interesting, and I really like how you talked about again, the stimulus point, right? So like moving outwards from all of your sales expertise, like everything probably is in business and life is going well now. So what do you have in mind, for like your future plans and with the Grow Up podcast?
Mm, you mean in terms of clients or in general?
Just in general, like I guess your roadmap of like timeline of like what you want to accomplish.
I'm a fan of goals, but I'm more a fan of the way there because when I was younger, I always said, okay, I want that until age X or until age 30, until age 25, until age 20. But life is not working that way. Sometimes there will come things you cannot plan. And I think what is fun to have an overall idea, an overall goal just for yourself, and then see how it goes. And I live after the motto of it is what it is. Some things, the things you cannot change, don't worry about them. They are how they are. Sometimes they're bad, but every door which closes up in your face, two more open. Like two more doors are opening for you. And I think that is very important. You don't need to be necessarily at that point of your dream life at age 22, 25, 30, whatever. Do things you enjoy and work with people you enjoy working with. So also don't work with toxic customers, with toxic teammates, with toxic people. You are in control of everything around you. And the journey is so wonderful. So share it with the world and share it with people you love and like. And that's, I think, one of the most important things I have to say to that topic.
Nice. The journey, not the destination.
Yes.
So, like, just summarizing everything that we've said, if there's someone here who's like a young fellow person who wants to get into sales and marketing, what would be your biggest advice for someone who's getting into this industry specifically?
Mm, I would honestly say join a hypergrowth startup. Join a hypergrowth startup as a junior sales rep or an SDR. You will have a lot of things to learn and to do. And if you join such a startup, you will not get so much money, most likely, but you will get a lot of experience. Then do that for 1 or 2 years, and then you can do your own thing. But it's important to not just get out of school. I was someone who always right away went out of school, and then I thought, oh no, I don't need to have an internship. I don't need to work somewhere. I just do my own thing.
Mhm.
But the biggest learning curve I got when I started also getting gigs and working in the industry because then you know about industry lingo, then you know about how a corporation works, who to address when you want to sell something in terms of budget, in terms of personal interest. And with that, you will get paid, you have a certain security, and you get yourself a kick in the ass to do the work and to stay consistent. And after you've done that for 1 or 2 years, you really know how things work in a certain industry. And that's something you can leverage, because you can do all mistakes by yourself, fail over and over again, and getting it harder and harder to get up and to start it again. Or you can learn from people who learned already from other people or who failed themselves a couple times, because then you don't need to fail that often and that hard. So you can improve your perspective and everything around that to become the person you want to be. Sometimes it's taking a step back to being able to run forward. And you don't need to do all the mistakes by yourself.
I like it. I like it. So like, I think many people have like the thoughts of, just being like a hardcore entrepreneur. You have to always start your own thing. But I guess working at like a job which you can benefit from, the skill set is really not working, but it's just more like learning, right? It's like you're going back to education, educating yourself on how to do this skill better. So
And if you're serious with entrepreneurship and starting your company, you can still do that on the side. I mean, you maybe have a 50, 60-hour week, but then you still have enough time to try out your company, to build it up. And in the best case, you have your main job, and on the side, you manage to build up the startup to a certain level of revenue, and then you can easily quit. You don't have the hustle around and the fail around. And you can learn and get paid for learning, and then use that to hyper growth your company, your startup, your agency, whatever you're building on the side. And that's, I think, something many entrepreneurs are not looking into that deep. And I made that mistake, that I didn't look deeper inside. And I would recommend everyone to get paid for learning.
amazing. Moritz, I really appreciate you hopping on the Gen Z fasting. Hope you have a good one. Best of luck with all of your business,
Thank
and
you.
yeah, talk soon.
Talk soon. Bye bye. Thank you, Bosco.
Bye.